Hi there, no devotion today. I want to take you to John's Gospel, chapter 4. I want to read from verse 21 onwards for our meditation today. It says, Jesus declared, "Believe me, woman, a time is coming when you will worship the Father, neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know. For salvation is from the Jews. Yet a time is coming, and has now come, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For they are the kind of worshippers the Father seeks. God is spirit, and his worshippers must worship in spirit and in truth." This is a statement that is made by Jesus. In my Bible, it is in red letter, which means Jesus himself made this statement when he was having a conversation with a Samaritan woman. The conversation turned to worship because the woman, Samaritan woman, asked a question. In verse 19, it says, "Sir," the woman said, "I can see that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews claim that the place where we must worship is in Jerusalem." So the question was, where do I worship God? Is the Samaritans right? Where our forefathers worshipped in this mountain here in Samaria? And then is the Jewish people right because they call people to worship in Jerusalem? So Jesus is making a statement to answer about worship. So what Jesus said was that neither on this mountain in Samaria or in Jerusalem, a time is coming that people will worship the Father everywhere. And so here he says that you need to know what you do in worship. Jesus blamed the Samaritans. He's saying, "You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know." So, what Jesus made here as a statement is that we need to understand when we come to worship, we need to know what or who we worship. We worship the Creator, not the creation. None of the creation is worthy of worship. You cannot worship anything that is created. Only the Creator is worthy of worship. So, when he talks about you need to know what you are worshiping. And he also says that salvation is from the Jews. So he's talking about the salvation that comes only through Jews, that is in Jesus, the Messiah. And then verse 23, he is making another statement. He says that yet the time is coming and has now come when the true worshippers. So Jesus talks about true worshippers in opposite to the false worshippers. False worshippers do not know, don't have an idea of what they are worshiping. But true worshippers know what they worship. It says, true worshippers will worship the Father. So the Father is worthy of worship. How you worship? In spirit and in truth. You can be open before God just as you are and giving honor and praise to Him in truth, in spirit. So the worship goes deeper than the surface worship where people just see things and worship. No, it goes beyond that. It comes from the Spirit within us. And so we have to worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Why? Because Bible says, for they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. So the Father's desire is to seek after the people who are really understanding who the Creator is, and worshiping Him and honoring Him and praising Him is what the Father desires. He desires people to worship Him in spirit and in truth. And why we have to worship the Father in spirit? Because Jesus said, God is spirit. God is not a material thing that you can make and keep it as a God. God is spirit. You cannot put, anything material into something and think that that is God. Why? Because God is spirit. And his worshippers must worship him in spirit and in truth. So it is a very important statement that Jesus made concerning worship. We need to know who we worship and why we worship. We need to know how to worship. God desires us to worship the Father. Him alone is worthy of worship. Worship him in spirit and in truth, in reality, not in any other fake way, because he desires us to come to him as clear as possible, in a truthful way, and worship him from the bottom of our heart, the spirit, because God is spirit. You cannot worship anything else and call it God. God is spirit. He desires his people to worship him and understand who he is. He is the creator God. He is worthy of all worship and praises. I encourage you to become worshippers of God, the Father. The Father desires people to worship him. It is a great privilege to know the Creator and worship him and bow before him and honor him, so that he can be pleased with us in our day-to-day life. And he is a good God and he loves us. And this morning I pray that God may give you the wisdom to become worshipers. Worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. God bless you.